An absolutely viral moment in the Counter-Strike scene this past weekend is Team Falcons. If you guys don't know, big money, big team, and a lineup that has kind of fallen short of expectations in CS2 so far. Well, they're under fire, and a lot of people, even outside CS, we had Call of Duty people, we had other esports chirping in on what is Zonic and the Team Falcons roster under fire for criticizing one of their now bench players, that being Boros, in the middle of a tournament for changing his mouse and in-game settings. It was actually clips that have now been taken out of a documentary that the team is uploading to follow the team, which is all really cool content in my opinion. More teams should be doing it, but here's the clips that were cut of the coach Zonic and the rest of the players critiquing and criticizing Boros for making that decision.
To be fair, but a lot of circumstances did what we didn't, and normally I'm not focusing on individual performance because we can all have a shit game. But I also think a lot of it started before the game. And I have to point my finger at you. Changing mouse when you had a tournament where you played really well, it's a risky move in my opinion. I don't know if it's the same mouse or if it's a new mouse. Forgetting your in-ears, for me, you're totally gone mode. And you're sitting on fucking Nvidia and changing in the middle of the game. It's fine to have a bad game, but there's just so many circumstances that fucks it up before the game. And the reason I'm getting angry because I know you're fucking better than that. You showed such improvement, but we fucking need you. And I don't want all this disturbance. If we're losing to a better opponent. I don't know when to take it up because we also have an important tournament, but I feel it's fucking necessary. We need to fucking show up and be there. And if there is issues, talk to us. If there is, like with your PC, people can help you set it up. But it's fucking risky changing your mouse. There's no way.
Point is, my weakness is my aim. Your weakness, your strength is your aim. At the fucking Katowice, you had the most insane aim.
So good.
Some of the most insane aim I've seen. Don't change your mouse before the RMR and whiff because of it.
This thing with changing mouse, it also tilts me. Like, I see you, bro. Like, I'm in off angle, secret. Memil spotted them crossing secret. And you're whiffing 20 bullets on a guy, jumping around. Like, I never seen you whiffing, and this is probably because of your changing mouse and settings and watching donk settings, and it just makes you feel uncomfortable. Stick with your settings, you are hitting insane, bro. Like, I know that Mo would never miss this guy 20 bullets in the back.
I think there's too many disturbances.
And as always, all of our CS content on this channel brought to you by ThunderPick, our esports betting sponsor. They will always be down below. Please bet responsibly, 21 plus only. And there were so many comments and replies around this. And for me personally, like I've watched this now a couple times through, and I'm not even like sure exactly what to think because there have been so many opinions out there. So shoot a comment down below right now if I tell you that the player out there has changed his mouse and his in-game settings in the middle of a tournament, and following a pretty rough showing, his coach and his teammates then criticized him like that. What's your initial response? Because at first when I hear Zonic, I'm like, I think I loved Zonic's feedback. He was doing it in kind of a positive way, like criticizing, but also it was very constructive. And he was saying like, you are the best, like you are very good. You should not be doing these things. And so I kind of liked that. I can maybe see where people are getting a bit offended when you then have another player and another player and another player. Like you got Snappy and you have Magisk and you have the other guys there, then adding on to what Zonic said, where like it can't feel good to be Boros in a situation like that. And another problem people had is maybe it's okay to do that, but then why are you posting this in a documentary? And now, especially with the player being benched, the player in question being Boros being benched, people were rubbed the wrong way by that.
Put it on the table and I say, no, I don't want to have any fucking regrets when I'm done here. If I'm not qualifying to the major, it's not because we're changing a fucking mouse, I swear to God. It's not because we're changing settings or we are forgetting our fucking in-ears or fucking AirPods or whatever it is all the fucking time. I swear to God, fix it and do better. And when that is said, I think we can be proud of ourselves.
And you had Patrick, a former player, saying they speak about how much RMR means to them, yet they are blind that they are digging their grave in the very moment. If you are an aspiring pro, learn from this. Do not demotivate your teammate during matches and tournaments. You are guaranteed to lower your chances of winning. There is no way he doesn't already realize the magnitude of his screw up. Piling on him as a group only takes the burden of the loss away from their ego at the cost of driving his confidence even deeper into the ground. And previously, before that, Patrick's saying it is beyond belief that even though there are 2 leader figures in the coach and psychologist, no one dared to put an end to this fire that was started. Instead, every single player added extra fuel. And other people saying, yo, bro, you've been missing some shots you've usually never miss, and we feel like it's because you keep changing your peripherals and settings. Stop doing that and be confident in yourself, and you are really good. We need you to perform. That's all either Zonic or Snappy had to say. Then we had NATO Sapix in response saying, I've seen multiple people with this take of people saying, oh, like, you know, you haven't played at a high level if you can't actually handle these opinions. I think the handling of this situation is bad, and I think it was very destructive mid-tournament. I think it's okay to have different opinions on this. I know you didn't say it as black and white as what I wrote, but I've seen it written like that by esports personalities, so it's not just you personally. I just don't think it's as simple as anyone who thinks it's bad has never competed at a high level. In response to what Neo had said, only just got around to watching this, but it's incredibly obvious who has never competed in anything to a high level in their life. Judging off some of the replies. When I used to play football at a good level, if a coach or teammate didn't get on to me for playing like crap, then I would never learn from my mistakes or improve. It may be harsh or uncomfortable to watch, but if you make consistent rookie errors, forget his in-ears, haven't done your settings, etc., it should be absolutely expected to be told off to some degree. And so all of these people had such wildly different opinions about what Zonic had done, what Magic's Maiden and Snappy then added on to it, how Boros should feel in this situation. So many people, so much so, it got into the Call of Duty scene. We had professional players, one of the best all-time in Call of Duty, in Clayster even responding, and so many people thought different interpretations of the situation. Again, what did you guys think? With Clayster saying, LMAO, anyone thinking this is too far is out of their mind. If my teammate is tweaking, changing settings mid-game, and using a different controller right before a match, I will rightly so cook the F out of them after checking us. Don't play competitive if you can't handle it. Then we have Pimpa Green saying this fantastic content. It may be unpleasant to watch for some, and that's fair. It doesn't change the fact that it's a hyper-competitive game you're watching, played by hyper-competitive people who want to win and not see all their hard work go to waste. Then we have Esses from the Valorant scene also saying this is a great point to make in Valorant. So many players are changing their stuff all the time. How can you be consistent when you're consistently changing? Most use it as a coping mechanism but it's not healthy. People blame their mouse insensitivity, but in reality, it is you. Use that to be better. Then we have Cooper saying coach correcting mistakes and pointing out issues is literally his job and perfectly normal. Team captain, that being Snappy, I also agree was perfectly fine. When the rest of the team just piles on and the same crap said while everyone stands and watches, it's extremely excessive and feels like they are placing blame onto one player and taking zero responsibility. And I think I do like Cooper's take. When I personally watched this, I thought Zonic did a fine job expressing himself. I think Snappy did as well by kind of giving that constructive feedback, but also being somewhat positive. Like trying to say, hey, you are a great player. We expect more out of you. You can't be doing these things, and having some sort of accountability for making those big changes mid-tournament. Now, should Falcons have aired this documentary or put this out there, even despite this player being benched? That is totally up to them. At the end of the day, it is content, it is entertainment, it's a peek behind the scenes of these discussions, which I think is great to see, but I do still feel bad for Boros, right? Like, I think part of it was justified, but I still do feel bad for the player, right? Now, he has responded to this, quote tweeting some of the other responses. I do want to preface, there is a bit of a language barrier there, English not being his first language, so you can only interpret so much. But I can't imagine he was a fan of the way that this moment went down and then having it aired out after. Like, I do feel bad for him. As he says, people need to admit when they suck and not just have in mind that they need to be right now top 1 to 5 in the world in a second. It adds a lot of pressure and it doesn't work like this. You need to put time and build a healthy environment first. And that's pretty much the expectations that Falcons had, right? They build this incredible roster and people expect them to be a top 5 team in the world like right away. So I kind of agree with him on that notion, and not feel like you are kicked from the first official. So already being kicked from the team after, this kind of performance, and feel like you are not part of the team or pressured. And exactly when I know that I effed up about something, I'm already tilted from it. I don't need people to tilt me more. So like saying that he knew the mistake he had made, right? And then having the whole team pile on him, that doesn't help him anymore, which, again, I agree with that. I think there's veins of truth in both sides of this argument. I just thought it was a very interesting debate to go to the general public because you had so many personalities and players in CS and outside CS giving their feedback on what this situation was like. And I don't think anyone got it 100% right. Like, I think you can agree that something like what Zonic did, or maybe even Snappy, was partially justified in the response to critique him. But you can also agree that for Boros, this whole situation sucks. The player, by the way, now being benched from Falcons after a performance like this. And then you could go even further and saying, if you are in the middle of an RMR event, a huge, huge qualifier, right, for the biggest event of the year that we're going to see, if you're changing your mouse and changing your settings and forgetting your in-ears, that does need to be called out. So there's veins of truth to every part of this discussion. I thought it was very cool to see social media take hold of this, and probably exactly what Falcons wanted. People are talking about the roster, some negatively and some positively. Some don't like this content and others do. And that's the great part about both sides, in my opinion. So I definitely can see where a lot of angles are coming from. What do you guys think? Till next time, do me a favor, all right? Drink up, stay hydrated, take care of yourselves. We'll see you back here for the next one.